Hello all loonies and normals, my name is Joe Silver, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Portal 1 and Portal 2. Let's start with Portal 1. In Portal 1, as in Portal 2 actually, you play Chell. Now, not a lot is known about Chell, where she came from or who she is exactly. There are a lot of conspiracies on that one around the internet. And of course, as we're doing Portal 1 and Portal 2, let's get the memes straight out of the way. Yes, the cake is a lie. But seriously, yeah, there's a lot of conspiracies around the internet about who Chell is and where she comes from and so on and so forth. And I'll probably touch on them briefly when I discuss Portal 2. But in Portal 1, you wake up in this isolation chamber, maybe, I don't know what you'd call it. But basically, your job in the game, in both games really, is to solve puzzles. There is a slight story there and so on, but it's mostly to solve puzzles. So you start off in this isolation chamber with, as I said, and to be honest with you, it looks like something out of a very futuristic era. And your job then is, once you get out that area, you then go into another area, and as I said, you're trying to solve puzzles. However, these are not your usual point move object A to point B type puzzles. These puzzles are thinking with portals, as I believe it even says it in the game, or at least its tagline is anyway. And that's because as you go through the game, you are given a portal gun. Another thing I should say, by the way, about Portal 1 and 2, I know I keep going off on tangents, but another thing I should say is that the Portal universe is the same universe as the Half-Life series universe. They've combined them. So references to Black Mesa and to that world, that's why they're there, because apparently it's the same universe, because it's the same people who made the game Half-Life, made the Half-Life series. Well, they made this series as well, and Portal 1 and 2 are on Steam, obviously, because, like I say, Valve, I think, is the people who made the Portal games. Well, they made the Half-Life series as well, and what they've done is the Portal universe is in the same universe as the Half-Life universe. So in the Half-Life games, you'll hear them refer to Aperture Science. Well, that's referring to the Portal games. In the Portal games, you'll hear them talking about Black Mesa and other people like that. Well, that's referring to the Half-Life series. So there's this interconnectivity. But as I was saying, and I'm sorry for going off on a tangent, when you go through the puzzles, you are eventually given a portal gun, and what that means is that you can fire portals or wormholes really at two different points, boom, boom, and by walking through one over there, you'll come out over there, so you can sort of be way over there in the distance, way over there, fire a portal there, and then fire one to way over the distance there, and then you go through there and come out there, and it's like you've crossed the room without having to cross the room, and all sorts. Basically, yeah, so you've got to sort of think with portals. Well, if I put my portal here and here, how will that affect here and here, and so on. And basically that's what you've got to do through the whole game, until eventually you meet up with GLaDOS. Now, GLaDOS has her own history, and again, when I touch on Portal 2, I will go into that, because again, there's whole conspiracies about where she came from as well. But basically, she's a sentient AI, and she's not very nice. Let's be honest. She is not very nice. She's the villain, and she is the one the big boss at the end, I suppose. You know, that you have to face. Now I'm not going to tell you how. I'm not going to spoil the game for you by telling you how. But as you hear her voice all the way through, then it's kind of obvious that she's going to be the final boss. So it's not much of a spoiler. So, but I won't spoil it by telling you how you do the game or whatever, because you know, if you want to play it, then you can play it. So that's Portal 1 anyway, is solving puzzles, using the portal gun, you know, GLaDOS, that kind of thing. Now let's go on to Portal 2. Portal 2 is slightly different. Again, you're playing Chell, and again you are, you know, you're solving puzzles as you go along. But there's a slight twist here, and the slight twist is you wake up in a bedroom, what looks like a bedroom for a start off, not an isolation chamber. This voice, for some bizarre reason, says to you, right, that you've been in isolation for X number of days, and then it says, you know, look up at the ceiling. So you look up at the ceiling, thinking, well, that's great. And then it says, look at this painting. So you look at the painting, and it's as if you don't feel that you've been invigorated enough by looking at the painting. Well, listen to this music. So you listen to the music, and then it says, go back to bed. Don't ask me why, but they do. And then that's where things start to go wrong. Because while you're asleep, something's happened to the facility, and you've been in isolation for a very long time. How long exactly is beyond, you don't know, because when you wake up, the computer voice is saying you've been in stasis for 9 over and over again. So it's got a bit stuck. So let's just say you've been asleep a long time, a very long time. And that's when you meet Wheatley. Now this guy is a moron. I mean, literally, he is a moron. He's an orb, or no, he's a core. I do apologise, but it's sort of an orb type shape, and he travels with you for some of the game. But the guy is a moron. He is an absolute idiot. And some of the stuff he says and does is hilarious. I mean, the comedy value of Wheatley is beyond belief. But honestly, it is so funny. But yeah, that's where you meet Wheatley. And then the thing is, again, you're solving puzzles, and again, you've got your portal gun, so you have to try and sort of work out where do you put your portals. But this game takes you a bit through more of a storyline this time, and you get to see some of the history of Aperture Science, and you get to see hear some of the history of what Aperture Science was, how it, you know, and so on. And you meet Cave Johnson as well. Well, you don't meet him, but you hear his voice on recorded messages as you're going through. And you learn a bit about Cave Johnson, and you learn a bit about Caroline. Now, here's going into the conspiracy theories that I told you about. Conspiracy theories on the internet say, and it's not covered directly in the game, which is why I'm going to say it, so it's not really a spoiler for the game, but people in the conspiracy theories say that Chell is the daughter of Caroline and Cave Johnson, right? That's what they think, and they think that for the Bring Your Daughter to Work day, Chell was brought in, and something happened, the big disaster that happened. I don't really want to say too much on what it was that happened basically, but if you know the games, you know the history, and you know that something happened, and on the day that something happened, their theory is that Chell was there, and she got put into isolation to be saved from this big disaster. That's all I'm going to say about the big disaster. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much. So what exactly happened, you'll have to find out yourself. But there was some big disaster. Chell was put into isolation to be saved, and then once the big disaster was over, she was mistaken for a test subject, and that's where the games begin. That's the theory as I know it. Yeah, that's as I know it. I mean, like I said, if you're really interested in this, you can look up on YouTube and other places who is Chell, what is Chell, and you can get the full conspiracy theories behind it. But the theory is that she is the daughter of Caroline and Cave Johnson, and that basically she was there on the day the big disaster happened, and somehow she ended up as a test subject, although initially she was rejected because her tenacity was too high. But there's this whole thing, like I said, it involves the Ratman as well, who's also in the games but not in the games. You never actually see him in the games, but there's evidence of him all around in the Ratman dens. So it involves him as well, Doug Ratman. It involves him as well, some of these conspiracy theories about who Chell is. That somehow he did something so that Chell would be mistaken as a test subject or accepted as one. Like I said, it's a long story, and honestly, I couldn't get my head around most of it. So, but like I said, if you're going to talk about these games, you've got to talk about these things as well, because they are a part of the game. They make understanding the game easier if you can understand the theories. Because because within there are little references to these people that I've mentioned. Like I said, there is no direct reference to Chell being the daughter in the game, but people have theorised that, and they've come up with all sorts of bizarre ideas as to how they can prove it. But that's what the theories is. That's what the conspiracies are. But anyway, you meet Cave Johnson. You hear Cave Johnson. You hear Caroline's voice on the game as you go in through, and again you're solving puzzles as you go. But the difference is now that, as well as when you get to the historic part of the game where they're talking about the history, that's when you meet Blue and Orange Gel. Now Blue Gel makes you bounce, Orange Gel makes you move faster. So they've added a whole new level. Again, you have to solve puzzles using the gel, and you have to use white gel as well, which was made from moon rocks, ground up meteorite dust and moon rock dust. And basically what it does is it means that it allows you to place portals in places that you cannot normally place portals. You spread the gel on the surface where you couldn't normally place a portal, and then suddenly you can place a portal there. That's again a long, say a lot of sort of. I mean, like I said, you would have to play both games to understand half of what I am talking about. There is a lot of sort of interconnectivity, but again, the theory is, and this is the only conspiracy theory confirmed by Valve, the only one confirmed by Valve as far as I know, right? And that is that GLaDOS is Carolyn. You meet Carolyn, or you hear her voice, Carolyn's voice, earlier in the game on the same recordings with Cave Johnson, and the only one confirmed by Valve is that GLaDOS is Carolyn. She is Carolyn's brain put into a computer. Now we know that this is true because they have recordings of Cave Johnson saying, why can't you put people's brains into computers, onto discs and stuff, and if I die before you work out how to do that, I want Caroline to take over the whole facility. So at some point he died, and she got put into the computer and made into GLaDOS. Now that is confirmed by Valve, and the reason they said that they came up with that was because Carolyn only has a few lines throughout the game, and what they said is basically, rather than pay another actress to come in, do Caroline's lines and then go, we'll use the same actress who voices GLaDOS because it's cheaper, and Caroline only has a few lines anyway, And then from that they suddenly thought, well, hang on a minute, if we're doing that, there's your origin for GLaDOS. It sort of came about that way. So we know that from that then, we know for a fact that that's who GLaDOS is, that she is Carolyn put into a computer and she became GLaDOS. Now, how she became evil, how she became not very nice, don't ask me. That is a whole other story, and I wouldn't even start to go into it. Like I said, there is a whole lot of stuff on the internet that, you know, well, I'm not going to say you have to watch to play the games. You don't. If you enjoy playing the games and you don't care about the conspiracy theories and the stories that going round and round and round and the ideas that people have come up with, then, you know, enjoy. Because honestly, I don't go into half of it, but I have gone into some of it, gone down the rabbit hole slightly, and trust me, it gets weird. But from what I can tell, people think the things that I have said in this vlog. Now, like I said, the point is that you go through and you meet these people, and again you're trying to you're trying to do these puzzles, but then at some point Wheatley travels with you, and then he provides the comic relief and the idiocy, and then he gets put in charge of the whole facility. Again, this is not a game at the end of the game, so it's not a spoiler in that sense, but let's just say about midway through the game he becomes GLaDOS. He becomes the one in charge of the whole facility. Now, how and why, again, I don't want to spoil for you, but let's just say that when that happens, things get really weird. That's when things start to get really weird. I won't say too much more, and like I said, if you enjoy those games, they are both on Steam. I played them on the Xbox. I think they were on the PS3 as well. They were on the Xbox 360 because that's where I played them. They're on Steam right now, and if you have them on Steam you can get a load of DLC with them as well. But again, you don't have to, and to be honest with you, if I ever get them on PC, I won't be getting the DLC. I'm happy with things the way they are. But you can. But anyway, I have rambled on long enough, to be honest with you, about these games. You know, if you've enjoyed this content, please hit the sub button, hit the like button, leave me a comment down below, and just, you know, enjoy the content that I put out. And I will be putting it out every week. And, you know, and I have been Joe Silver. So, goodbye.